Did Finnish authorities trace Monero transactions? No, not really. But today we're going to be looking at what exactly happened. This news story came out last year. Like the other news stories we've looked at, a lot of people panic, but then once we look into the details, it becomes pretty obvious that Monero worked perfectly fine in this situation, and that exterior metadata really is what helps investigators, quote unquote, trace Monero. Now, the headline here does read, Finnish authorities traced Monero transactions tied to the AotPO hack. And, if you read that, you're thinking in your head, because this person used Monero, this is why they got caught. And that's just not the case. This individual, he was a well-known cyber criminal from Finland. His name is Kivimäki. And he'd been involved in all these other cyber crimes. So he was already, someone they were looking at as a possible suspect for this. The company that was hacked was called AotPO, and they were a psychotherapy company. So basically, he found all these notes that patients had for, their therapy, and he threatened to leak them online unless he was paid, which is a really shitty thing to do because you can only imagine what people are going to therapy for. So yeah, this guy's a total piece of garbage. So anyway, he tried to get money from AotPO. They didn't pay him. So then he posted on a Finnish message board, asking for people to pay him directly. Now, Mental Outlaw, he did a whole video on this. Highly recommend checking this out. He goes into a lot more detail. But this guy was, again, he's Finnish, and he's posting on a Finnish message board, clearly able to speak the Finnish language, which does narrow down the investigation for law enforcement, right? Additionally, as is alluded to in this thumbnail, he actually accidentally uploaded his user folder, which is like one of the dumbest things you can do from an OPSEC perspective. So if law enforcement was investigating this hack and they were able to download even a little bit of his user folder, it would just tie him even closer to this this hack, this extortion attempt. So the guy was very much already caught. And anyways, he was arrested. And after he was arrested, investigators started looking at the cryptocurrency he received to, tie the case together even further. What is the first step an investigator will do to find somebody's cryptocurrency usage? What are they going to do? Well, what they're going to do is they're going to look to see if this person used KYC exchanges. And essentially, this person was linked to transactions happening on KYC exchanges. And from that, they were able to work backwards and quote unquote trace Monero, using metadata from non-KYC swap sites as well as KYC exchanges. So similar to the Japanese incident we talked about a couple episodes ago, the law enforcement is not telling exactly what they did, but using the article that we have and the information that we have, we can really quite easily piece together exactly what was done. So let's actually do that. So this is the primary source for this. The article is entirely in Finnish, and somebody on Reddit has a pretty accurate translation of it. The translation from my Firefox browser wasn't too accurate, so I'm just going to use what this guy did. And we're going to read through this article and make sense of it, again, using the information we know and the background information as well. Because like I mentioned, this guy was already known by authorities, so that kind of background information helps kind of piece together what actually happened. And like I said, check out that Mental Outlaw video for more information on that. All right, so it says here, KRP, the Finnish National Bureau of Investigation, said they have successfully traced a Monero transaction. The cybercriminal got ransoms in Bitcoin and then sent them to a non-KYC exchange. KRP made an information request to the exchange. He exchanged his ransom Bitcoins to Monero and sent those Moneros to a private wallet. After that, he sent Monero to Binance and again exchanged them to Bitcoin. So right off the bat, the first dumb thing this guy did was he accepted ransoms in Bitcoin. All right, he got those Bitcoin, sent it to a CoinSwap website. The CoinSwap website, they keep information on the guy. Law enforcement comes knocking, they share that information. So he's already leaving a trail with the transactions he was making. And from that, we have things like timing analysis. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's keep reading. In the Vestamo case, a big revelation, KRP traced the cryptocurrency that was considered untraceable. According to KRP, the money paid to the counter-extortionist ended up with Julius Aleksanteri Kivimaki and a man living in Estonia. KRP believes that it has found out how Vestamo's extortionists laundered money. At the same time, KRP says that it has traced a cryptocurrency that was considered untraceable. It says here that regional prosecutor Pasi Vaino revealed that KRP has investigated the virtual currency transfers of Vastamo's extortionist and is able to prove that the ransom money sent to the extortionist ended up in Julius Kivimaki's personal bank account. The prosecutor described the additional investigation as a significant demonstration against Julius Kivimaki. According to the prosecutors, this is yet another piece of evidence that Kivimaki, accused of numerous crimes, really is the extortionist. So, again, they're building their case. They already have the guy. How are they going to build their case? Well, what's useful with cryptocurrency is it's all on public blockchains, right? And there's all this metadata that follows said transactions. So, again, law enforcement, they have their guy. Now they can work backwards using that information that is stored on these exchanges. So moving on, although the prosecutor requested an additional investigation into virtual currencies only in the middle of the trial, the matter had already been clarified in the KRP at the very beginning of the preliminary investigation of the Vestamo case. In October 2020, when the big data breach had not yet been revealed to the public, KRP decided to use an old trick to find a person who tried to extort a large sum of money from Vestamo by threatening to publish customer information. A fake purchase was made. KRP sent 0.1 Bitcoin to the virtual address where the extortionist had requested ransom money. Julius Kivimaki, who was accused of extortion, was finally tracked down by other means. So here they are actually saying he wasn't caught with the Monero. And the fake purchase is not even mentioned in the actual preliminary investigation protocol of the case. However, in the additional investigation that started last November, this trick was significantly useful. Why is that? The money was transferred immediately. In further investigation, KRP traced the amount transferred to a Bitcoin address beginning with BC1Q using virtual currency analysis. So the purpose was to follow digital traces and find out where or to whom the money had ended up. The investigation revealed that soon after the fake purchase of KRP, the extortionist had transferred the money from the Bitcoin wallet. It was probably easy for the police to figure this out because the Bitcoin virtual currency is based on transparency. All transfers made in the blockchain are public and leave a trace. Anyone can follow transfers in various online services. The trail led to the virtual currency exchange service, where KRP sent a request for information. The service in question does not require its customers to register and does not collect, for example, personal data. So there is no decisive lead, but a lead nonetheless. The service replied that the sender of the money had exchanged the Bitcoin funds to the Monero virtual currency and then sent them to a private Monero wallet. All sections of the additional investigation report where KRP discloses its methods have been encrypted. We don't want to reveal anything about the analysis of Monero traffic. According to the head of investigation, the information is secret because it's the police's technical methods. And then it goes on, saying that the police don't want to show their hand. However, right off the bat, looking at this above, they even say that the individual had transferred the money, from the Bitcoin wallet immediately. Here's where it says it. This is timing analysis is what we're saying. But let's continue on with the article. In the KRP's report, the Monero analysis is described as heuristic, i.e., the purpose is mainly to find out the most likely or best option as a payment recipient. Sometimes the conclusions are very certain, sometimes not. Based on the classified report, it is considered very likely that the money sent from the exchange service to a private Monero wallet then ended up in another virtual currency exchange service, which was Binance, which is one of the largest virtual currency services in the world. The same transfer unexpectedly resulted in multiple several thousand euros larger amount of virtual currency than the 0.1 originally sent by KRP. They are unfamiliar with where the other money came from. Instead, KRP tried again to find out the recipient's identity with a request for information. Once again, No identifiable personal information other than the email address had been attached to the account. According to Binance, the funds entered into the account were exchanged from Moneros back to Bitcoins. And then they were moved forward again in two different directions. One of the paths led to Estonia, where police were talking to that person, although they're not expecting that person of any crime. The role of that man is unclear, it says. But another of the paths led to what are called money mules. Basically, it was an online service where they promised to exchange virtual currency to money instantly. According to KRP, the idea of the service is that the customer sends virtual currency to the service, and private individuals acting as money mules of the service then transfer the corresponding amount of euros as a bank transfer to the bank account indicated by the customer. Several account transfers were made by persons suspected of being money mules were found in Julius Kivamaki's personal account. Police conclude that the people behind the account transfers were money mules because the cryptocurrency had been sold in the names of these people in another service. The receipts advertised a service that Kivamaki is suspected of using. And here it is. The timing of the transfers also coincided perfectly with the payments tracked by KRP. According to the KRP report, it can't be a coincidence that the traces led to Kivamaki's account. So even though they say in this article that they don't want to reveal what happened, they literally bury the lead and reveal what they did right here. Timing analysis. This is all they really did. They knew this guy's name. They looked at his KYC and banking information. They saw amounts going into it. They worked backwards. They looked at different exchanges. They worked backwards. They saw Monero into the account. They worked backwards. They saw at some point Bitcoin had gone into account. That's the lead, right? They used the transparent Bitcoin to see that going into a non-KYC exchange. They knew Monero had come out of it. They tracked that amount of Monero being specifically sent. That's all you need. They probably also could have used a poison output. So if they have the Monero poison output related to that non-KYC exchange, and then that appears later on in the KYC exchange with the exact amount from that swap, there's a pretty good indication that that's the same person, especially if later on that amount of Bitcoin was later transferred to a personal account related to the suspect. So moving on, in addition to the fake purchases, KRP's additional investigation examined a cryptocurrency wallet seized from a server located in Tuusula, connected to the criminal network. A large amount of virtual currency had been sent from the wallet to another Binance account that emerged in the investigation. In total, it was tens of thousands of euros. There was also no official personal information reported for that Binance account. However, KRP found out that an attempt had previously been made to enter a person's personal identification number into the account. The papers had not been accepted for one reason or another. It was possible to create an account on another large cryptocurrency exchange with the same personal IDs that were suspected to be false. An email address was registered to that account, whose email server was managed by the suspect, according to the KRP report. KRP's investigation also reveals that the funds from the Binance account have been forwarded to a private Monero wallet. Based on the secret Monero analysis, the funds ended up there again in the same Binance account, where the fake purchase had also repatriated according to KRP. Now, this is a little confusing because there's like multiple accounts and all that. But yet again, this secret Monero analysis, it's probably just timing analysis and the exact same amounts being sent back and forth. It's not really secret Monero analysis. The only step forward that would be quote-unquote secret is poison outputs. So if they see that Monero leaving the exchange to a personal wallet, they have the poison output associated with that unspent transaction output. And if that same amount goes back to the exchange, in addition to that being the same amount, it's also going to have the poison output in the ring signature. So that also helps prove it's the same exact Monero being sent back to the exchange. So they can use that. If you're confused about what I'm talking about, I go into ring signatures in a ton of detail in the first 10 episodes of the series. So check that out. that'll give you a lot more background for what a poison output is. So finishing things off here, according to the KRP, there were a total of 30 transfers between two Binance accounts. According to the KRP report, it is likely that Kivamaki controls both accounts and uses them to launder money. The fact that the funds flow along a clear route to the use of the criminal suspect also makes the conclusion very likely. If a mistake had been made in the difficult Monero tracing, according to KRP, it would be practically impossible that the investigations would have ended up by chance in the account of the person suspected of the original crime. So yeah, I mean, they had his accounts, they were examining the flow of money, and there's just too many coincidences where plausible deniability no longer gets in the way. This is what happens when you use exchanges. You're giving away metadata, and this is really how people can be traced. And unfortunately, things like full chain membership proofs, they're not going to solve this. This is kind of what I'm trying to really get through to you guys here, where this type of analysis, it's beyond the blockchain. It's something that, unfortunately, is probably never going to go away, and it's probably going to get worse as we get more and more to a KYC-only environment, at least that's legal, which is the goal, I think, of law enforcement and of the government. But yeah, this is pretty standard EAE sort of attack with timing analysis and exact amounts. They're saying that they don't want to give us what they did, but they pretty much described to a T what we've already been talking about. Anyways, for those still watching, thank you very much. I appreciate the support. If you want to send me a donation, feel free to do so. And as always, have a great day.